Yeah. And you're just above the surface of the water. I can barely hear you. You got to warn me if there's sharks. No? Yeah? Was there any sharks?
That was funny.
Okay, well,
No sharks.
on that note, here we go. Who was your most impressive team from the last...
you've gotta
Actually, no,
intro
yeah,
to
I apologize. I apologize. First off, let's get buckets. Second off, we have not been here the last 2 weeks. Many
No
reasons.
podcast for you.
Many reasons for that. First reason, someone messed up the audio recording from 2 weeks ago. I think it was tampered with. We're not gonna name names. I just think it was tampered with. Last weekend, someone went on an extended vacation, and so pick your poison. We have not been here the last 2 weeks, but we're back for a great one this week, and hopefully all three of y'all that still listen will enjoy it.
Let's do this thing.
Okay. Who's your most impressive team this last weekend?
Oh, my most impressive team, I'll go with them again. I've picked them before. Is definitely Auburn. Obviously, Missouri is an obvious choice, but Auburn's a little bit more out there. Not necessarily out there. They beat an undefeated LSU team. Took control of the SEC in general. LSU has one of the best defenses in the nation, and Cam Newton ran all over it.
He's the nation's leading rusher, which is stupid. And it's not even close.
Yeah, he's really he's going to win the Heisman. I don't think anyone can slow him down. LSU has a great run defense, and they couldn't slow him down. He gained over 200 yards against him.
Yeah.
So,
did you see what Urban Meyer said about him this week?
I did not actually. I've had busy weekends over the past few watching sports in person. So do fill me in.
Okay. Well, I mean, after someone asked him about Cam Newton, who was on his team at one point last couple of years,
right.
And he said sometimes it's really hard to watch because, I mean, look at Florida right now. They're not doing really well. Just imagine if they had Cam Newton in their backfield with Dimps. There's so much speed on the field, you can probably not stop that.
That would be great if they had Cam Newton because, I mean, he's the natural heir to what Tim Tebow was there. But they don't.
Yeah.
So that's all there is to that.
Okay. My most impressive team was, of course, the Missouri Tigers, who, for the first time, ever, beat OU or Texas. All I've remembered the last couple years is getting pounced by Texas or OU. Especially, there was a primetime game last year where Colt McCoy went to Missouri, and it was close for about 3 minutes, and then it just got bad. But not only did Missouri take off the opening kickoff for a touchdown, they dominated on defense, I thought, which is 4 weeks in a row that they've played exceptionally well. And now they get to go play Taylor Martinez, who seems to have his mojo back after getting benched. And I don't know what's going to happen there, but we're going to talk about that more later. We actually kind of talked about LSU and Auburn, which was one of the games. I didn't really think about that. But Cam Newton did dominate. Let's talk about something that you actually saw, which was Kansas State and Baylor. And your Baylor Bears are bowl eligible for the first time since the relevant era.
First time since '94, to be exact, since you had no. It was a fun game to watch. Lots of offense. Baylor tried to pull a Baylor, and in the fourth quarter, shoot themselves in the foot time and time again. But Kansas State apparently didn't want to win the game. Lots of dumb personal fouls, but in the end, about 25 students rushed onto the field and almost covered up the logo at midfield. And Baylor is bowl eligible and ranked in the top 25.
Okay, do you think they will, over under 1.5 regular season wins from now until the end of the season?
Well, that is a tough one to answer because it's either going to be 1 or 2 wins. Well, I mean, there's the possibility of 0, but it won't be any more than 2. I'm going to take the under. I think that we'll lose to Texas this week, and then we will travel to Oklahoma State and lose, and then we'll beat A&M at home on the 13th and finish the season with a loss to Oklahoma.
I'll take the over. I was high on Oklahoma State until I watched them play Nebraska. I thought they were much more athletic on defense, and they just got just trampled. And so it's going to be another high-scoring game where Baylor seems to always have a shot.
Right. I feel like the 24, the 25 ranking that you see Baylor with, 25 in the BCS, is a little out there. We haven't beat anybody, and I say we because, as our two listeners probably know, I go to Baylor, and I've been a Baylor fan my entire life. But we're not that good. We haven't beat anybody. Kansas State was ranked number 22, but they didn't deserve that because they also had not beat anybody.
True.
So don't put too much stock in that ranking that we luckily got. I'm glad we're ranked, but we shouldn't be.
You saw the stat that the last time Baylor was ranked and Texas wasn't. What happened, right?
Bears won.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening again.
Me either. Honestly, I think if Iowa State would have lost to Texas, that could have changed things. But we'll talk more about that.
Speaking of games to pick, the last time we actually picked games, which I don't even know if it was published or not, you went 3-2, so congratulations. You're now 15-7 overall. I was 2-3, another struggling week. So this puts me at 10-12, and there's only one opportunity for me to gain a game this week, so I'm slowly losing hope that any success against you, seeing as I'm 5 games back. But first game to pick, Oregon going to USC, and I'm not going to hesitate. I'm picking the Ducks because no one can stop the freaking offense if they want to.
I mean, I'm picking Oregon too. They're fun to watch. They're fun to watch dominate people. They'll put up 50 to 60 points on USC and absolutely embarrass Lane Kiffin, which I'm thrilled to see, and it won't be close.
I think it'll maybe be close in the first half. I think this could be like a Tennessee game where Oregon struggles getting going on the road against a tough crowd. Hopefully they don't fumble a kickoff again, but I don't think there's any way USC wins this game, just because USC has always had that swagger that Oregon hates, and so they'll be really ready for this game. I already know that Oregon's playing the USC fight song at practice, and that they already are really upset. So Oregon, I'll take them. I don't know what the spread is yet, but I would imagine it's 2 touchdowns at least, and I will take that easily. I don't think it'll be close in the second half.
All right, moving on.
Okay, Missouri going to Nebraska. I'm taking Missouri's defense in hopes that they slow down Taylor Martinez, and I will go with Mizzou just because I can't pick against them.
I'm going to go with Missouri too. I don't think anyone's going to beat them. I don't think Taylor Martinez is that good. I know he had a great game against Oklahoma State. That is just one defense that he did that to. That's the first time we've seen that he's actually able to pass the ball all year, which was good for Missouri, in my opinion, because they'll be, in a sense, more prepared for it than I'm sure Oklahoma State was.
Right.
And I think Missouri is going to come out with a good scheme, slow him down, and their offense will get the job done.
Michigan State, who somehow keeps winning. I can't voice my displeasure enough of that team. They're going to Iowa, and I hate Michigan State, so I'm taking Iowa.
I'm taking Michigan State. They've made a couple of gutsy calls to keep winning these games. They had the fake punt this week as opposed to the fake field goal against Notre Dame. I will say that if they want to win this game, they need to come out early, and they need to start playing in the first half, because having to come back against teams in the second half is going to catch up to them eventually.
It's not that I don't like them. I guess I like the whole, their coach had a heart attack and now he's back. I mean, that's a great story for SportsCenter or E60, but they're not a top 6 football team. I'm just wondering when someone in that conference is going to expose them. I mean, do you think they're a top 10 team?
I don't, but if they're going to get exposed, it has to be this week. They don't play Ohio State.
Yeah, I know that's unfortunate. I think they'd kill them.
Let's move on. Baylor, Texas.
Baylor, Texas. Going with Texas because Well, here's a reason. They've lost their last 2 home games. When was the last time they lost 3 home games in a row? Especially to the likes of Iowa State. Who was the first game they lost to?
UCLA,
Iowa State, and now Baylor. Are those going to be your 3 home losses this season?
Baylor's a top 25 football team.
I think we just talked about that. I'm doing Texas because I don't think there's any way that they lose this game after a hard week of practice, after getting just – Mac Brown ripped his team in a way. And
he did.
He was not happy with their effort and the fact that they go and they win a game on the road against Nebraska, a tough place to play, and then they go lay an egg the next week. And I'll take Texas. That's it.
I'm going to take Texas too because I'm the ultimate Baylor football pessimist. Until they do something like Baylor basketball did last season, I'm not going to be able to believe that we're going to get the job done. If Texas had beat Iowa State, I would actually be picking Baylor right now, but I know they're not going to be asleep for us. I think we can play with them, but I think that since they're coming off a week in which they're going to be so highly motivated, that they're going to end up winning.
Brown at Penn, Ivy League matchup of the week. The Brown Bears traveling to the Pennsylvania somethings.
Quakers?
Are they the Pennsylvania Quakers? Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
I don't know. Let me look it up while we're sitting here. Keep going, though.
Okay, Brown going to Penn. I'm going with Brown just because Luke Landers told me so. He will make us proud, and I will get that pick right.
They are the Quakers, just so you know. And I'm going to pick Brown, too, simply because you know someone on their team, and they have the same mascot as the school that I go to. Go Brown.
Sick 'em. We're not going to talk about the NFL this week because is there really anything to talk about? Do you have anything to talk about?
Good. Michael Vick is going to play, not this next week because the Eagles are in a bye, but the week after that, and that's all I have to say.
All right, so we might talk about that next week. Probably not. Major League Baseball, World Series, Giants, Rangers. Kyle, you get the luxury of going to all these games. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to watching the Rangers clinch the World Series in Game 5 in Texas. It's going to be good pitching matchups, but in the end, I think that Texas has a better baseball team. And I think they're going to win this World Series because of that. That's really all I'm looking forward to about it, besides being there.
I'm kind of stunned that they made it this far. I mean, who thinks that they're going to make it this far?
Well, I mean, they had to play the Rays, who I have to ask Nick, how is it going to feel to not have Carl Crawford in a Rays uniform next year and go back to probably third place in the AL East while you sit on the couch and don't actually get to go to a game in Tampa Bay ever. And then they beat the Yankees, which is really the hardest road that you could possibly go through to get there.
Best 2 teams in baseball, something like that?
Yeah, it was the Rays had the best record in baseball. I think the Yankees might have had the second best, but I know that they were the defending world champions. So you knocked off the best this year and the best last year. And why not knock off a team that doesn't have the best baseball history when it comes to winning the World Series?
I'm not a Rangers fan, so I'm free to root for whoever I wish. And I've always liked the Giants. But if the Rangers win, I will have no problem. As long as Buster Posey does really well, I have no interest in what everyone else does.
What's the Giants closer's name? Is it Wilson?
Brian Wilson.
No.
Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah.
Brian Wilson, yeah. His beard's awesome.
He looks like he belongs in Israel, somewhere over there.
He looks like Charlie Sheen when he was the Wild Thing playing for the Indians in Major League. That's what he reminds me of. He fits the role perfectly. Brian Wilson gives me flashbacks of John Rocker.
Really?
I loved John Rocker.
Yeah, but John Rocker had a temper.
And John Rocker gives me flashbacks of Chuck Knobloch for some reason.
Chuck Knobloch was Nolan's favorite baseball player for a good majority of his life. until he probably found out he wasn't any good.
I really liked Chuck Knobloch when he started throwing the ball 20 rows into the stands from second base.
I think we've talked enough about baseball in the podcast. Let's go to a sport we know a little bit about. What sport is that? I don't know.
It's got to be basketball. the only sport I ever really played.
For those who are interested, I actually have my preview up on Harvey Nation, so you should probably check it out.
Nobody's really interested.
Well, I thought I'd throw it out there.
That was shameless. You little self-promoter. Follow me on Twitter, GBKcraw.
Which stands for Get Buckets.
Like the podcast. Anyways, to the NBA season.
Yes. Who do you think is going to surprise? Who's your surprise team this year?
I don't know, because it's hard to pick, because everyone that you think would be a surprise team is actually expected to be good. So I'm going to go. You tell me if this counts. I'm going to go with the Trailblazers.
I would. Okay. What are you projecting for them? What do you think they're going to do?
I'm giving them a top 4 finish in the West into the second round of the playoffs.
I'd say that's kind of a surprise. I mean, it's not like a whoa. Did he just say that? But it's top.
I'm also really the surprising thing of the year is I think Luke Walton's going to be a strong candidate for MVP.
MVP like the D League? Oh, he's not eligible in the D League anymore. Sorry.
And also expected Darius Miles come back.
There's no way.
Darius Miles has game.
Is he on a roster?
He's not right now, no.
Oh, man. Darn. Really looking forward to him play.
Who's your surprise team, Harv?
I have 2. And actually, if you combine them, they'd be dirty. I'm going with the Clippers as a surprise team. I think they'll make the playoffs. Blake Griffin is going to win Rookie of the Year unless John Wall averages like a double-double.
I don't know how surprising that is.
I think it's really surprising. I haven't seen one person pick them for the playoffs. Everyone thinks because they have Baron Davis that they won't do anything. I think they could be a really good team because having Blake Griffin and a healthy Chris Kaman gets the ball out of Baron Davis's hands. Okay, my second surprise team, because I know you want to hear it really bad, is the Grizzlies. I think they could push for the 8th seed.
I think they have the pieces to push for the 8th seed, but for all we know, they're going to trade Mark Gasol for somebody completely random that isn't worth
cousin?
near as much. Yeah, I mean...
Another Gasol?
Yeah, they're going to snag another Gasol. They can only have one on the team at a time, really.
Who are they going to trade this one to, the Heat?
Just to make sure they win a championship.
No, but I think they have the pieces to make the playoffs. Their starting lineup's good. Their bench sucks, but when you have Mike Conley, OJ Mayo, Rudy Gay, Zach Randolph playing the 4 and starting Marc Gasol, I think it's a really good team if you can play your starters 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, as with all NBA teams, it's going to revolve around them staying healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if one of their starters goes out, they're in trouble. But I don't think the Grizzlies will be in the playoffs or be in the playoff talk for the last 2 weeks of the season.
What do you think the Warriors are going to do?
I think they're going to be the most exciting team in the NBA to watch, besides the Heat, just because of the way they play. But they won't be in the playoffs. They'll probably finish 11th, maybe 12th out in the West.
My hope. Actually, here's what I know what's going to happen. They're going to get to the trade deadline, and someone's going to want Monta Ellis, and they're going to trade him for a power forward or as another center. They're going to trade him for a big. And then that's going to give them about 6 bigs, and they're going to draft another big next year in the lottery. So, I mean, I'm kind of getting tired of the direction the Warriors are in. I think anyone that's played like NBA 2K whatever in franchise mode can run that franchise better than they have. I don't disagree with the Epé pick, but that's not what they needed. And I'm happy he went to the Warriors, and I hope he gets healthy and I can watch him play, but they didn't need Epé. They need so many other things besides a 4 and a 5. It just pains me that they continue to do this.
I mean, if you combined their bigs with all the guards that Minnesota loves to draft, who knows? They could be a good team. They could be a good team.
Speaking of which, I think they need to trade Ricky Rubio for something. I want to see that kid in the NBA immediately.
That would be. Maybe they should ship Ricky Rubio to the Clippers. I don't know who for.
I don't care. Baron Davis. You don't want the team.
Yeah, I love Baron Davis, for the record. Anyways.
I liked him as a Warrior, and he kind of just made me sad when he went to the Clippers.
I think there's going to be a different version of Baron Davis this year. I hope so. Since he's on a team that's going to contend, that he's going to bring it night in and night out, and he'll be the Baron Davis that everyone used to be like, oh my gosh, Baron Davis.
Get buckets, Baron Davis?
Get buckets, Baron Davis.
You know who I wouldn't mind seeing Ricky Rubio is on the Knicks.
That would be exciting to watch him in the offense they're going to end up running. That would be a blast.
It'd kind of be like Steve Nash, just a little more exciting.
Yeah.
Steve Nash isn't as good in the paint, I would say, as probably Ricky Rubio is.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still questions about how good Ricky Rubio is going to be.
Right, he's like a junior in high school or something like that.
He's like 15.
I think I wrote about this in my preview, but I feel bad for whoever, whether it be like Perry Jones or Harrison Barnes, whoever gets drafted number 1, because we know who it's going to be. It's going to be the Raptors. They're awful.
Hopefully Perry Jones. Well, you're also assuming that there's not going to be a lockout next season.
You're right, I am. But I think I would say, and I don't think a lot of our listeners care about the lockout, but I would say that if they have a lockout, that's like it's a tragedy, because
a travesty. Thank you.
What did you think I said? Travesty?
You said tragedy.
I apologize for my pronunciation. Travesty. I think it would just be a really bad scenario with all the momentum they have coming out of the summer, where basketball's never talked about, and we've talked about it all summer. I mean, we had free agency, and even
decision.
Yeah, the decision. I mean, as bad as that was for LeBron's image, it made basketball relevant in the months where it's not supposed to be. And so to have a lockout and to ruin all that momentum that they have, I think that would just be absolutely terrible. And so I'm hoping they don't have a lockout. But that's just me hoping, because I want my NBA League Pass.
Right, and I agree with you that whoever goes with the first pick in the draft next year
I feel bad
is completely unlucky. Nobody wants to play in Toronto.
I would consider consolidating that team. I've heard good things. Bosch said he loved his time in Toronto, and I think everyone that goes there enjoys the city, but they just seem like they're screwed for so long. They have no prospects of anything good.
They just need to get Vince Carter.
And Tracy McGrady.
That'd be an awesome team. A washed-up team, but an awesome team. And Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, I think that's about all we have for today. Until next week, you have anything to add?
Get buckets.
Of course, you should always be getting buckets. If you're not getting buckets, you're really just letting yourself down. So. All right, well, have a great week. We'll see you next Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday.
Or 2 weeks from now.
Or 2 weeks. All right, bye.
See you, folks.